I'd like to welcome Mardy Fish into the interview room here at the 3M Open in 2022. Mardy, you've been around golf. You're obviously a tennis professional, but you've played in a number of celebrity events. But this is the first go around in the big leagues, basically.
Oh yeah.
What's the anticipation heading into this tournament this week for you?
Excitement. Humbleness, right? Like it's no one's ever played a ATP and PGA Tour event before. The ATP formed in the 70s, so it's something new as well. Obviously, for me, new for anyone to do that. So it's special. It really is. It's special that it's here as well. I'm born just down the road and spent the first 5 years of my life here and root for the Vikings and the Twins and the Timberwolves. And I didn't go to college. My dad went to the University of Minnesota, so a lot of roots were laid down here a long time ago. And so I'm just excited that it's here, and where I'm from and where I was born. And I don't get to come back very often. And so this is certainly a special trip.
Did you kind of anticipate this happening in the last, year or a few months, or given the amount of golf you played on the celebrity circuit?
A few years ago, I had the luxury of meeting and playing golf with Mr. Nicholas, and he is buddies with Hollis, and called him and said, "Hey, what about this Fish guy for a sponsors exemption?" And that was the year that they had Morikawa, Hovland, and Wolf as the sponsors exemption. So I felt like, and I didn't necessarily know who they were at the time. I knew they were great collegiate players or whatever, but so I figured if Mr. Nicholas can't get me in, I may as well not try. And we revisited it this year, and Kyle Rudolph, who played for the Vikings and is a 3M ambassador, was a huge part of talking to Hollis and Mike and Katie and the rest of the crew, and got me over the edge, and I couldn't be more humbled and excited.
Great. We'll take some questions if you want to get a mic, and we'll go with Jerry.
Just how different do you expect it to be teeing it up nerves-wise against these guys versus celebrity tournaments?
Yeah, a little different probably. I get the difference for me with pressure, stress in golf and tennis was in tennis I was really a basket case before matches. Once they called my name or once I walked out on the court, I felt great. Everyone's different. That was me. I remember playing a match at Wimbledon, and it was maybe fourth round or quarterfinals, and I looked over at my opponent. It was an hour before our match, and my opponent was asleep, taking a nap on one of the training tables. So I was the opposite of that. In golf, I get a little nervous on that first sort of swing or the first kind of birdie. You sort of free up to make a birdie or a double bogey kind of thing, and you can kind of relax a little bit. So I anticipate it's no similar than something like that. And golf is obviously so technical in terms of your swing and stuff that when it's a little off or the nerves are on and your swing's a little off can really throw you. So it'll be a new experience for sure. You can ask me on Thursday after the round how that was.
Go ahead.
I know you're a really competitive guy. Like, how do you balance the happy to be here with? I'm sure at some point it's going to be like, I want to do really, really well.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah. No. Look, I certainly don't expect to compete to win the tournament necessarily, but making the cut is something that I'm eyeing big time. I look at some of the scores of the past, and I don't know. It seems fairly doable score-wise, but then you got to get out there and actually play. And I'm confident in my game. I know I can. I've worked really hard to get during the past couple months to kind of get myself into this type of golf shape. Long irons into par fours and long holes and stuff like that. So you can only rely on that. And I've played golf my whole life, ever since I could stand. And so, you're just hitting a little white ball around. I don't have to run after it or anything like that. So it's it's right there in front of you. And so yeah, it's a great question, right? Like, how do you enjoy it and not play well, or how do you enjoy it and play great? You know, it's difficult to kind of compartmentalize like that. I hope I do. You know, I know I do leading up to it for sure. But once the tournament starts, you'll kind of jump back into that mode and think that you're as good as these guys out here, and I'm sure that's what I'll do.
Do you have a question? Yeah, we'll just get your microphone first. Just 1 second. There you go. Thank you.
So this is kind of a Minnesota question. So when you're out in Tahoe, there's you, there's Adam Thielen, there's a bunch of Minnesotans kind of atop the leaderboard. Then you come here. What makes it so special? I know we're littered with golf courses here, but golf and Minnesota athletes really go together across all sports. It's kind of special that way, isn't it?
We had a lot of, we had Adam was there, Joe was there, Joe Mauer was there, TJ Oshie was there, Larry was there, Fitzgerald. I tried a couple years ago, I tried to get like all of us in like a picture, like let's all kind of meet in the lobby and just take a quick picture or something like that. And it didn't really, it's kind of hard to wrangle these guys up like that. It was more, I thought it was more special maybe than they did, since I was probably more of a fan of theirs than they are of mine. But I've gotten to know those guys really well over the years. Adam especially. We're great friends now, and Kyle as well. Kyle Rudolph usually plays there too. I know he's not from here, but it feels like he's a Minnesotan. They're all great. They're all Minnesota nice. So we're represented well out there for sure.
Marty, you mentioned Mr. Nicholas earlier, and there was a recent article that said something along the lines of you were playing with him at the Bears Club, and he's like, Marty, you're 40 years old, and you hit it as good as that, and it's the best I've seen anybody non-professional do that. Why are you not, why are you not out there trying? Did that lead to something? Or
I think he needs to watch. I don't think he watches that much amateur golf. Maybe first of all, I did play really well when I was lucky enough to play with him, but I do understand and know what it takes to play at a high level in an individual sport, and I simply don't have the hours anymore, nor do I want to. I dedicated my life to tennis, started playing tournaments when I was 6, retired when I was 32 years old, so that's a long time to do anything, and I sacrificed everything. I didn't finish high school. I didn't go to college. I was traveling, playing tennis and training, and and then it's you sort of grow up a little bit and learn that fitness is as important as being good at the game, and so I relied a lot on taking all the variables out and dedicating myself to fitness and what it took, discipline and dedication and professionalism and all that stuff when I was a little bit older. And so I just dedicated my life, my lifestyle to to that sport. And so again, I know what it takes to do that. And I don't want to do that anymore.
So if we see you perform really well and maybe above your expectations this week, does that change that, or are you hard and fast a realist?
I don't think so. Look, I work in finance world. I do a lot of play a lot of those celebrity golf events and stuff. I've got 2 young kids at home and a wife that sacrificed her sort of 30s at least for me. So we're out in LA and maybe we'll revisit that. Maybe if I'd love to revisit that, but maybe safe.
So I know you have a group of fans when you play tennis, the fish heads that traveled with you. So we'll see any of them out here this week.
I hope so. I played yesterday with Mike, the kind of the Ernst & Young CEO, and he said he had 800 people that if we won the Pro-Am, he'd get all 800 out on Thursday or Friday to wear the fish head. We didn't win the Pro-Am, but I'm hoping to get a few friends out there. Hopefully a few Minnesotans out there that'll be rooting for me.
Excellent. Take it home.
Marty, you spoke a little bit about Kyle Rudolph. I think tomorrow you and Kyle are talking about something
Team
about the
Rudolph,
U of M. Yeah. How is that special to your heart?
Well, his foundation, his charity stuff. Yeah. So we'll go tomorrow morning. My best friend Jake Owen is coming in. We're going to go spend some time at the Children's Hospital there in the music therapy room, which will be special. And I always loved. So Jake and I, when I moved from here when I was 5, I met what used to be Josh and Jared, his twin brother. He's recently changed his name to Jake when he turned a professional singer, I guess. And so we've been best friends since we were 5 years old. So for him to come up, and got to see him a couple weeks ago in Tahoe and everything. So it's just a really special week all around to be able to do something like that with friends. I love going to those types of things at children's hospitals and stuff. And I've done it I used to do a charity event in Akron, Ohio, where we had a little mini horse that would go through and see the kids in the hospital and stuff, and just their faces would light up, and tons of in the ATP we call it the STARS program, where we go see charities and things like that, and that was sort of a mandatory thing. We'd always look to try and do stuff like that at St. Jude, or we had a tournament in Memphis, we'd go there, and so those are always really special.
And last one from me. I know you joked online, but you threw out the first pitch at the Twins. So
yes.
You're practicing that for the next time they invite you back?
Yeah, that was a bucket list thing. I said we'd be in town, and said if you are up for it, we'll do a first pitch or something. I said, heck yeah, because that's a bucket list sort of thing. I'm a huge Twins fan. My son's 8. We watch every Twins game at home. So we came early here Saturday to go to the Twins game on Sunday, so we could watch for the first time. He's a big baseball fan too, so we did the whole, it was a good dad moment where it held his eyes closed or whatever and walked down to the front and, okay, now open your eyes and see the field. And it was a cool moment for dad. So some of my best work as a father is getting him to root for the Vikings and the Twins. I can't get Steph Curry is killing me on the basketball. He loves Steph. So I can't get him to get the Timberwolves yet, but once Steph retires, maybe we can get him into the Timberwolves. But very special. It's a special place for sure for me.
Marty, you mentioned Steph Curry, and I know you've defeated Tony Romo in some of those events. Have you talked to them about? I know Tony played an event at Corrales in an actual tour event.
Yep.
Have you spoken to any of those guys? And Steph played in a Corn Ferry event. Have you discussed any of that with them ahead of this?
Yeah, Steph and I are real close, and so he was texting me out here. I was telling him that there's all the tour trucks out there. I said I was going to hit every tour truck to get a free driver, and then bring it back to LA and get some store credit from maybe one of the golf stores. Try and take all the free stuff that we can out here. He laughed, but no, he just said, look, do what you do you, and he knows that. And just like him, he played well when he played that Corn Ferry. I think he shot maybe 1 or 2 over both days, which is super respectable. He's a really good golfer. So yeah, we just sort of root for each other in these scenarios as well. Always root for Tony when he gets a spot, because kind of shows that he's a really good golfer, and B, he can kind of somewhat compete with some of these guys. Maybe the last time he didn't play very well, but time before he's been kind of in the mix to make the cut, stuff like that. So yeah, we root for each other, and all the ones. Mark Mulder also played one up in Silverado. So yeah, there's just a few select guys that have been able to do it, and it's pretty special.
Before we take another question, is there a tour player or a couple of tour players that you've spoken to about heading into this, that's maybe given you some advice, or you've sought some advice from?
I've been lucky enough to meet and play with a lot of guys. Kind of growing up in Florida, or being in Florida, and just a love for golf. Sergio Garcia is one of my best friends. I was in his wedding with Ricky and Rory and a couple other guys. So gotten to know those guys. Played with Ricky today, Ricky Fowler and Camilo Villegas, which Camilo and Sergio were good buddies, and met him through him, and now we've struck up a nice friendship. And so I'm lucky enough to know a lot of these guys, and more so asked if they were going to be here, just to, I can kind of cheat off them a little bit in the practice rounds and stuff like that. And so I spent 9 holes with Ricky and Camilo just now, and talking about, anything from the tour to the rough, to the greens, to, everything. Is this what it's usually like? These fairways are pretty special. It looks like carpet. Is this what it usually like? And they said, I don't know. This is pretty perfect to me. So, yeah, so it's all taking it all in like that.
Go ahead.
Since you could stand, I'm just curious with how much you put into tennis. Was golf always an escape for you? And I guess how much could you play when you were really...
I quit playing golf tournaments when I was 14, and I quit playing baseball when I was 13. I kind of had to choose one. I excelled at those three. No, not necessarily more than tennis or anything like that. I do feel like if I am confident in my sort of athletic abilities to, if I just did one of the three of those, I hopefully could have figured it out. I don't know. It worked out. Tennis worked out fine. Brought me here, which is pretty cool. So never would have thought that.
What do you feel like was your greatest achievement in a really successful tennis career?
It's a great question. It's tough to pinpoint. I mean, I always turn to the team competitions, the Davis Cups. I'm the Davis Cup captain for the U.S. right now, and Davis Cups were always really special for us because it's such an individual sport. We leave the locker room. It's the major sport. We leave the locker room, we're all by ourselves. So, outside of cycling or I don't even know if marathon running, maybe a marathon runner, leave and go and don't have anybody to talk to really. So it's a hard sport. And so the ones that were really special were the team ones. We won Davis Cup in 2007 in Portland against Russia. We won, made the final in 2004 when I was on the team against Spain. A lot of memorable matches that I played in some pretty crazy spots. Camilo and I were just talking about, and his brother Manny, we were talking about. I played a Davis Cup in Bogota, and it's 9,000 feet altitude, so we had to use these pressureless balls. And I told him when I hit a backhand, the ball would hit the same spot of the racket. One would go 20 feet long, and one would go in the bottom of the net. So it was like really difficult. It was unbelievably hard conditions, and we played in a bull ring. Like in Bogota, they put a clay court in the middle of a bull ring. And that was actually the second time we'd done that. The first time we did that was in Madrid against Spain, and Nadal was on the team and stuff. So a lot of like really special moments. I hesitate to say winning a silver medal because you lose the gold medal match. You sort of lose the gold medal and they're handed the silver medal. But that was, in the Olympics, and that was special, 2004, a long time ago, but yeah.
And just finally for me, you reached an additional level of fame when you did the Netflix documentary, Untold Breaking Point. Just what sort of feedback have you had from that, from fans and people in general?
An overwhelming response in a good way. Right before I sort of, you can do something on Twitter, I think, where you can open your direct message, so anyone can write you a direct message, and I knew that I was probably going to get some questions about or comments or whatever. Hopefully good. Hopefully people saying thank you or anything just to help people with it. And I don't have hundreds of messages. I have thousands of messages. It was incredibly overwhelming. It was when the doc came out. Every day I had 50 messages from individuals that would say, thank you, I felt the same way, and I wasn't able to tell my wife, and now I am, and I have the confidence to be able to do it because I don't feel like I'm alone. Definitely got a lot of this saved my life, which is obviously really special, but the ones that were really cool were I had one lady, I remember this, and this was early on. She said she was having a really hard time getting up in front of her coworkers to give the presentation that she was supposed to give from her boss was making her do, and she was postponing it, and she watched the doc and said right after she immediately called her boss and said, I'll do it tomorrow. And so it was just kind of a cool moment there, that people have taken that, and it's shown people, it's given people a success story, because I feel great now. It'll always be a part of my life, but I feel great. It's a daily sort of battle, and I win every day, and these people out there win every day, and they'll understand that they're not alone, and it's trying to educate people on the kind of the severity of mental health and the importance of mental health. Education is a huge part of it, because people just, thankfully don't know anything about it because they haven't had to deal with it, and I wouldn't wish any of what I had to deal with on my worst nightmare, but you can beat it and you can get through it, and that was an important message for me to show on such a big platform like Netflix.
Absolutely. It must have been incredibly satisfying and meaningful. Well, we hope you have a satisfying, meaningful week this week at the 3M, and wish you all the best of success. Thanks for joining us, Marty. Appreciate it. You got it.